All right. All right. Well, good evening, everybody. Hello, West Coast. How are you? Okay, so a couple of things. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Erin Fudge. I am so excited to be here. I have to tell you guys, I have been just blown away from all the trainings from everybody over the last 5 weeks or so. I've obviously met Larissa and Kathy a few times. And when I got to go to director training back in December, we really got to connect. We had breakfast together. I got to meet Kaylee. It was amazing. And Diana and I are like, what up? D and I, like, we go way back, right? So, but I just want to say how honored I am to just be included in this group of amazing women. I think that when we got to get together, it was so amazing to, you know, really talk about how we want to get the West Coast moving, right? We are the best coast. So I'm really just excited to, you know, meet a whole bunch of you guys I haven't met before and talk to you a little bit about my story. And then we're going to talk all about personal volume, which is seriously my favorite. I feel like I have big shoes to fill after all the amazing trainings. And this was a request from all the ladies. They're like, BD, please, please. So this is my favorite thing to talk about. And I always feel really good and excited about it. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my story in the business here. My name, like I said, is Erin Fudge. You guys, I am a mom. I just turned 40 this year. Oh my gosh. That happened. I have been a teacher for 17 years now, which blows my mind. Like I said, I'm a mom. I have two boys. They are, one's getting close to turning 8. The other is 4. I am a wife. And just I got a lot of hats. But you know, when I started with this business, it was really quite hilarious. I have no background in sales whatsoever. I did work at a bar in university. So selling beers to drunk dudes is pretty easy. I felt good with that one when I was much younger. But when I started, I actually had found out that I was pregnant with my second son. And the opportunity just kind of fell into my lap. And I was like, you know, I was actually on the hunt looking for hair care that was going to be, you know, that would actually work while I was pregnant. I was very conscious about what I was putting on my body. And like I said, the opportunity kind of fell into my lap. My upline, she came to me and asked if I would try a sample. And I asked if it was safe if you're pregnant. And she was like, oh my gosh, are you pregnant? I'm like, yes, oh my God, I haven't told anybody yet. But I was that annoying person. I got the samples. I don't even know. I think it was in February. Yeah, I'm waiting for my memory to pop up. It's probably going to come. And I got them, and it took me forever to try them. I just honestly was like, you know how it is, you get them and you're like, yeah, I'll try that later or whatever. But I did, I tried them, I fell in love. And then I actually signed up as a VIP. And it was interesting because this was back in 2017. So it'll be 5 years for me actually next month that I've been with the company. So I'm not as OG as the Gertsons, but I'm, you know, pretty close. And, you know, I was talking to my husband a little bit. Yeah, I was one of those too, but my husband's awesome. So, but I just kind of said to him, you know, Amy's been talking to me about the business opportunity, and like, you know, maybe I can bring in a couple extra $100. And it's so funny when I tell my story, because I always feel like I don't have a really good story, right? Like, I'm like, it feels really boring to me because, you know, I wasn't trying to save my house. I have a husband, he has a great job, you know, as a full-time teacher, you know, in Alberta, we make really decent money for teachers. But, you know, going on maternity leave, I knew it was going to be a little bit, I needed to keep my oldest son in day home. So I was like, I cannot have 2 kids at home. I will not make it. And my husband said, well, if you can bring in an extra $100 a month, that would be great. And I was like, yeah, like, that's good, right? We can have a couple extra $100. That would be great. But honestly, I dove right in. I got, you know, kind of crazy. I signed up at the end of March. I was in Mexico, waited a few weeks, came back in April, and I just hit the ground running. And I honestly, when I got my first paycheck from Onate, I literally was like, eh? Like, I went to university for 5 years. I got 2 degrees, and I am making, you know, equal money to what I am as a teacher just from sharing shampoo. And this is when we only had shampoo, you know, for a month. And that's for me when it was a huge eye opener for me. And I just decided, you know what, this is going to be something more, you know, I'm like, this is fun. And I started, you know, talking about it and bringing people in. And, you know, I took off quite quickly. I hit MM in about 6 months. I actually hit the same month I gave birth to my son. I was like, this is going to be my story. I was like, it is happening. I'm having my baby and I'm getting that Cadillac. And so I did, and it was amazing and really incredible. And, I do have to tell you guys, we always hear these amazing stories about hitting things quick and this is happening and that's happening. The reality is, in business, we're always going to have ups and downs. And my business did take a huge turn for the worse. That happened. I hit in the October. Come February 2018, obviously things really collapsed for me. And I know for any of you OGs or anybody who's been through 2018, we know what that was like. And, what that taught me. And I always look for the lessons to be learned when things don't go the way that we have planned. And it really taught me about consistency. I believed in the products. I believed in the business. I had seen what it had done for me. And I knew that these products were right and they were great. And that people just, were jealous of what was happening. And I'm like, just, okay, stick with it. And it really taught me about consistency in this business. And thank goodness I never gave up. I was in rebuild mode. We're always in rebuild mode, but I was in hardcore rebuild mode. And I just kept going. And thank God that I did, because, I went back to work, obviously, when my son was a year or about 11 months, I went back. And I honestly was so stressed. So do we have any teachers on the call here tonight? You know what I'm talking about? Okay. Teaching is a very demanding job, especially when you are full-time. It is a lot. And I went back to work and I was like, oh my goodness, like I am not going to last. Like this is insanity. I was so busy at work. I was still, building my business, working hard on that. And I almost crashed. I was super stressed out. But what was amazing was, and this is going to lead me into personal volume, was that this opportunity allowed me to go part-time in my teaching. And now, after 5 years, I'm actually pretty much done, retired with teaching. I'm a 0.3 contract right now, and I am working my way out of it. And I will tell you, I love teaching. I love it so much, but this opportunity opened my eyes to that flexible living, that ability to really work from wherever I want to be, and, have lunch at home on my couch by myself. And so I did do the part-time, and it was all because of this opportunity. So if you are new here, I'm sure we've got newbies on here. I'm sure we've got people who've been in for a year or, even longer. Stick with the business. Even if there's going to be those times of, downfall, stick with it. It's worth it. Just keep going and you're going to be totally, totally fine. So here's what happened with personal volume for me. So when I decided that I was going to go part-time with teaching, I freaked out, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, because any teachers out there, if you give up your 1.0, your full-time teaching contract, that is scary. Okay. Because it's not easy to get it back. So once you kind of go part-time, you're possibly stuck part-time forever. And I'm like, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? I'm freaking out. Like, yes, I have some income, the income coming in is good. But I talked to my upline about it, and she just said to me, I'm like, my team is strong, but I don't know for sure. And, you freak out, right? Because a lot of this business is relying on others, and working with others. And it's not solely on what you're doing. And she just told me, and it stuck in my head. And she said, you know what? Make up for that income. She goes, just become a PV queen. She's like, be a PV queen, right? Make that income up on your own. You don't have to rely on anybody for that income. And I was like, you know what? I'm like, you're right. Because when it comes to personal volume, guys, it doesn't matter if you are MP, MMP, AMB, all the way up to SED. It does not matter, right? You can make a good income. You can replace some income with just personal volume. And that's all on you. And I know for me, that gave me a little bit of relief, because I was like, okay. And it was so funny because at that time, I kind of forgot about Friday pays, right? Like they would come in and you're just kind of like, yeah, whatever, they came in. And my PV, I want everyone to understand too, as I'm talking about personal volume, that it doesn't replace the importance of recruiting. Okay. Recruiting is obviously the number one thing in this business that's going to help you grow, that's going to help you get to where you need to be. But what I love about personal volume, regardless of any rank, you guys, if you're at the, you're at the start, you're at MMP, and congratulations if you are, good job. But you can seriously, while you're waiting and working to build your team, you can actually bring in a pretty solid income with just your own personal volume. And I will talk about that in a minute. in this business, and I'm not trying to be like, but I do make six figures in the business. And I actually went through for taxes, my husband and I went through all of my Friday pays. And I looked at how much I made on Friday pays versus, my commissions on the 15th, and just about a quarter of my income from my Friday pays. So I was like, holy crap, like all my Friday pays, and that's not including the personal sales bonuses that you get on the 15th from your personal volume. That is just from Friday pays. And I literally was like, wow. And it made me feel really good because I was like, wow, man, I did that. Like that was all on me, right? So, that's the thing. Friday pays, you guys, they can be huge for you. You can be bringing in, hundreds and hundreds of dollars on these Fridays if you're kind of focusing on that personal volume. And of course, we all know with our personal volume at the end of the month on the 15th, right? You get a different percentage of pay based on what your PV is. So like 1,000 plus is 3%, 2,500 is 5. I can't remember. And then 3,500 plus is 10%. So when I started with Monique, my PV was always pretty good. I was kind of ranging between, the 2,000s to 3,500 or so. Oh, thank you, 2,000. Thank you for the correction here. But, in the past 2 years or so, I've never had below 5,000 PV at all, ever. And I'll get to that in a minute. But here's the thing, you guys, PV always starts with personal volume, always starts with PV, right? Or sorry, with VIPs. There we go. With signing VIP customers, right? Like I said, was kind of between that 3,000 range ish. And I remember they came out with Vegas for 2019. Which year do we miss? 2020. And they came out with the new incentives for it. And it was for tier 3, it was to get 5,000. And I remember looking at that and being like, yeah, right. I remember everyone's like, yeah, right. Oh my gosh, 5,000. That's insane. And I just was like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And that pushed me. And like I said, since then, it's never been below 5,000. So anything you put your mind to, you can do. And remember, when it comes to personal volume, you guys, it is all on you. So it starts obviously with bringing VIPs in. Okay. So here's the thing, when it comes to, having 5,000 plus PV, or, having even maybe 3,500 plus, it's not just about bringing new VIPs in. It's also about taking care of your current VIPs. So I want to kind of talk about, bringing them in and taking care of them. So, in 2020, I was number 2 in Canada at Monations for bringing VIPs in. I had brought in like 170 VIPs in 2022. I was like, what? I didn't realize. I was like, holy crap. But 2020 was a really, really good year for me. 2021, I didn't bring as many VIPs in at all. But what I had done in the previous year was built a very, very loyal customer base of a lot of VIP customers, right? So obviously, bringing VIPs, I wish there was a secret sauce to it. But really, here's kind of what I want you to think about when it comes to bringing VIPs in. So number 1, utilize your networks, you guys. So I know we always get and I loved the training last week with Kathy when she talked more about not just focusing on social media, but utilize the network that you have. If you have a job, there are people there, right? If you are out every day going to a coffee shop, or you guys, my best VIP, her name is Postal Patty. She's the postal office lady at the Shoppers Drug Mart down the street from me. And that lady, we love Postal Patty. I was always going there all the time. And she's like, what are you doing? And I brought her samples, right? And this lady, like I got her on everything right now. But think about your network. Don't always be so stressed out about, being on social media and being like all done up and all that stuff. Think about the people that you already know. Yeah, Postal Patty is the best, man. We love her. But VIPs, number 1, are going to buy from you and purchase from you. It's not about the products. It's about you. Right? You are the brand in this business. You have to understand Monate is supplementary to who you are and who you show up as every single day. But people are going to buy from people they know, like, and trust, right? So I see right now, how many people right now, and it's okay, you can be 100% honest. Would you buy Monate from yourself based on how you show up every day? Do you show your passion for the products? Do you show how to use the products? I'm going to pull the chat up here. I can't see it. Where did it go? It's not showing me the chat here. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yes, good. Getting there. Awesome. Okay, so here's what I've done in the past. Number one, you guys showing up every single day using the products, right? Educate people on how they work. Show your dedication to this business and to these products. This month, I have 3 VIPs that I've signed. One of them was a newbie off Instagram. The other 2 are literally people that I sampled back in 2019. So that's one of the biggest things that I want people to understand. I know the frustration where you're like, yes, I got them. And then they're like, yeah, no. And you're like, damn, right? Never give up. Keep showing up every single day, because people, even though they say no to you, and I'm a testament to that. And I'm sure Larissa and everybody who's been in this business for longer than, 5 years can tell you, people always come back around. So make sure you're showing up every single day, showing your dedication, whether it's through a reel or it's on your stories or it's through posts or whatever it is. Really show people that you believe in these products. Because they're not going to believe. If you're like, well, no, this got me down and now I'm not going to do anything, people are watching that too. So trust me, when you show up every day, obviously I do a ton of it in my stories. I'm always showing products, how they work. But make sure you have tons of conversations going as well, right? Because this business is all about connections. Now, here's something that I really love to do. I like to, I have connections, and sometimes it feels weird bringing Monade up. I know that feeling, and you're like, I don't know what to do. It feels weird. But when I have a good conversation going with someone, and it might just be about, whatever I've connected with them, their dogs or their kids or whatever it is, I have this little thing that I send out, and it's called my chicken list. So I will write to a person if I don't know how to bring it up, and I'm like, you know what? And I usually have brought Monade up, or people are watching me, they see what I'm doing. But I'll always say, I'm like, you know what? I just wanted to ask you something. You're kind of on my chicken list, but I did just get a whole bunch of new samples in, and I would love to send you some to try, but absolutely no pressure. And so what I love about that is, number one, you're letting people know, you're being vulnerable by letting them know that you're a little bit nervous to reach out to them, right? And then they're like, oh my gosh, why would you be afraid of talking to me, right? And then the fact that I'm saying I just stocked up on samples, and I'm not a huge sample fan, but sometimes I feel like I need to use them. That's my excuse to be able to reach out, because I did get the samples. And so people who, I've done that a lot, and I've actually been able to not even send the samples to those people, but it's sparked the conversation, because then I'm like, well, yeah, I can send them, but we also have a 30-day money back guarantee. So we can actually try the products for 30 days, give them a feel. If you don't love them, we can send them back. But I find the chicken list is a really good way to start conversations. So I encourage you to use it. It'll make you want to throw up when you're writing the letter. That's what we always say. But like I said, don't give up on people, right? They're always going to come back. Another really big thing that I've done that's helped with bringing VIPs in is actually focusing on 1 or 2 products for a long length of time. So there was a giant chunk of time, my team will tell you this, that we focused solely on, like in 1 month, on the 30-second miracle and the eye smooth together. That was it. That's all I talked about all the time. And I ended up getting 17 VIPs that month. And of the 17, 15 of them were with the 30-second miracle and the eye smooth. So, I think we always get overwhelmed. There's so many things to talk about, but I always think of it like, it's like a mind thing. When you see commercials over and over and over again, you're like, oh, damn, I want McDonald's. And you're like, no, I don't. And then you see McDonald's and you're like, oh, it makes you want it, right? It makes you be like, okay, I need to do this. So instead of, talking about 500 different things every day and being all over the map, I challenge you to seriously take like 3 weeks or even a whole month and just talk about the same thing. And I know Jess Gillis did that with the Eye Wonder, with the lash and brow serum, and she got a ton of VIPs just by focusing on lash and brow. So I know you will feel like you're being repetitive, but trust me, when you focus on something, it will work. And right now I'm in like a mega zone on my Instagram, mostly doing reels. I'm really focusing on the oil with hair growth. And a lot of the VIPs, all the VIPs I've signed this month have included the oil with their order or just gotten the oil. So really sticking to something is really good. But what also happens is that when you have a customer base, they're watching you, right? They joined with you, they said yes. And when they see you talking over and over about certain things, they're going to buy it too. So now I have my current VIPs who are messaging me. They're like, okay, tell me about this oil. And I've gotten like 3 VIPs who have gone in this month just to order the oil because that's what I've really been focusing on. So I do think when you're focusing on one thing, it takes away, or it makes it easier for you to kind of think about what to actually, post. And here's what you want to think about with VIPs, guys. And, it was much different when we first started in 2017. We only had the hair care. Holy crap, we got 4 businesses in one right now, right? We got hair care, we got skin care, we got wellness, we got body care. So this is my number one tip. And I've got a few more, but is when you get a VIP in your head, you need to think, I just signed 4 VIPs in one. Okay, I signed 4 VIPs in one. So here's what I always do. Number one, I sign majority of my, well, it's a split between skincare and hair care, more so lately with hair care because I've really been focusing on it. But as soon as I get a VIP on hair care, I'm like, all right, amazing. So I am so excited. I'm going to send you some samples of our skincare to try for free. And they're like, oh my gosh, thank you. I'm like, yeah, tell me about your skin concerns. What's your skin type? And so it's kind of my welcome to my VIP club, but also I'm like, okay, this is one step further to me now having, 2 customers in one. I have sent, which I'm not sure if we're allowed to do, but I did, little packs. You get the little, we call them the little cocaine baggies, the little small ones. And I've put a scoop of collagen in there and I'm like, toss that in there with you too, because anyone who tries their collagen is going to love it. So you got to look at it. Your goals are to really get 4 customers out of 1. Okay. One of the best things too, you guys, and I'm trying right now, and I've got quite a few, but not a ton, to really get them on that wellness and really get them on that collagen, because the difference with wellness is these are monthly orders. These are 30-day supplies. Our hair care lasts forever. We know that. So does the skincare, but our wellness is going to get people, if you get them on that immune support, if you get them on the collagen, even the protein, even the sleep drops, that's 30 days. And people are going to actually need to repurchase every month. So don't count wellness out. If it's not something, I find it really hard to promote wellness in the sense that there's not a lot of before and afters. So if I can obviously slip it in there, I definitely do. So one of the things that I want to talk about too, that has really helped me with personal volume as well, is utilizing the flex ship. How many people are freaked out by the flex ship? Everyone's like, I don't even want to bring it up. I don't want to tell people about it. Oh my gosh, right? Sorry, I just swallowed down the wrong tube there. I try to actually sign all of my VIPs on regular orders. So I do not work towards signing my VIPs on flash sales. Okay. And I know other people do it opposite, and that's totally fine, but I'm going to tell you why and why this has helped my PV. When I sign a VIP, and that's what I've done, all 3 this month have all been regular orders. And why I love to do that is, number one, you have to remember that when people are using the flex ships, right? When people are using them or signing up with them, they tend to use them more, right? They're not afraid of them, because I'm not like, holy crap, I'm getting you this deal and you can get this product for $13 and that one for $13 and whatever. It's just literally like, oh my gosh, you're going to get this, you're going to get a free gift. And look at this, you're going to save an additional 20% off with Purchase Plus. And they're like, holy crap. And it really is a good deal. And you get the freebie, right? But then I find that they actually use them more. And you guys, flagship orders are full PV and full CV, right? Full personal volume, full commissionable volume as well, right? A lot of the sales that we have, you got to look at it, read the FAQs, see what the actual CV is on those sales. Sometimes we're like, oh man, this is amazing. It's 130 PV. But when you look at what the CV is, it's like 75 or something, right? So you're actually not utilizing, you might be getting the PV, but paycheck wise, you're not getting paid as much. So think of those flagships as amazing, amazing things, promote them as amazing things. What I like to do with, because when it comes to sales, I treat my VIPs with those. That's when you've already signed up and I've given you skincare samples. Hey, did you try the skincare samples that I got? Guess what? We got a sweet deal on this weekend for our skincare. And that's another way to kind of get VIPs who are already purchasing, who aren't afraid of the flagship, who see a, kind of a sweet deal on here. They'll go for the sales as well. And so those are kind of, don't be afraid of the flex ships. And Monet, they want us to be using flex ships. We have the point system in the States right now. I do have obviously some VIPs in the US. And they're just going in and making regular orders now because they're like, oh my gosh, I have all these points. And they actually get more points on the flex ship. I have my one girl, Erin, she has she has so many freaking points, $10 off right now. She's so excited. Who doesn't love getting points? It's like using your Avion, right? And you're getting points and you're like, I can get so many free flights. So, it's going to come to Canada. And I think that it's going to be, trust me, it's really, really amazing with the points, but it's having people make regular orders. They're not waiting for sales. How many people have VIPs are like, I'm just waiting for a really good skincare sale. And you're like, right? Stop, just get it on your flex ship and look how much you're going to save. But here's one of the things too, you guys, and I'm going to put this into the chat. And this is what I preach with my team as well. I think we're all a little bit nervous. Let me just copy and paste this here. I think we're always a little bit nervous to actually make lengthy recommendations. Okay. So I remember when I first started, I was like, I just need to get this VIP. And I'm like, okay, you can get a shampoo, a conditioner, and a blowout cream, and you're good, right? And then they'd be like, okay. And that is all they would get. Because I was like, just get them on the bare minimum. Like, that's what we were always thinking. And now I'm like, hell no, make recommendations. So this is, I'll put it in the chat here. So hopefully you guys can see it. Obviously we have our quiz as well, but I like to actually personalize and ask for recommendations from people. Because I feel like it's, instead of being like, oh, here's my quiz link, here you go, take it. I like to be in communication and really talk about the hair and talk about the skin and whatever it is. So this is obviously just for hair care. But what I like to do is don't do the bare minimum, ask questions. So that's the ones that I ask there. And I like to make 4 recommendations. So I'm like, here are my recommendations for you based on your answers. I make 4, and then I always say extra, and I add 2 more for extra, right? So, what I've done with those questions is, it's going to tell me if your hair is thick or thin. It's going to tell me what shampoo you need. It's going to tell me what conditioner you need. And then when you look there where it says, like, do you use any styling products? That's going to allow me to make some more recommendations. Do you ever use dry shampoo? It's going to allow me to recommend the dry shampoo if they do. Do you prefer to air dry or blow dry? That's going to allow me to recommend either the air dry or the blowout cream or a heat protectant or whatever it is, right? So those questions, I have them designed so that allows me to make the 4. And then if I don't, if they're like very minimal on what they use, I'll come up with 4. And then my extras, I always replenish mask and Rejuva beads. So if they don't say anything about, split ends or whatever, and it's not in my OG like 4 that I'm giving them, I will put it into the extras. And then I always just ask, how do those recommendations sound to you? You're always asking questions, keep the conversations going, right? And my one VIP that I got this month was the biggest, it was a huge order. I made the 4 recommendations plus 2, she got them all. How do those sound? Yeah, I want them all. I'm like, okay. It was like a 275 PV order. I was like, yes. My addiction continues. I love it. But really, if you're not making recommendations for people and you're not being a little extra with it, first of all, the best part is you can show them how much they're going to save. Okay, well, if you only got these 4, you're going to get an additional 20% off. But if you add these 2 on, look at how much you're actually going to save. Utilize, like, Purchase Plus was the best freaking invention, seriously, ever. So use it. How do you share your recommended over social media? I'll come back to that, Amanda. I'm like, hang on, I'm on a roll. I want to get through this quick. One of the best things too, you guys, when you see flex ships coming up for your VIPs, do not just message them and say, oh, hi, I see your flex ship is coming out. Do you want me to help you push it back? No. How's everything going? How's the shampoo? How are you liking it? Is there anything you feel that you're lacking right now? Your flex ship is coming up. It's super exciting this month. You can run your reports and see who's going to have them coming up. These are only for use this month. This would be a great one for you. Is there anything else that you want to try right now? And don't be so nervous that they're coming up and be like, oh my gosh, I have to push it back for them. Really talk to them, because lots of times when I reach out to my VIPs and I'm just like, hey man, you got your flex ship coming up. Do you want to try this? This is happening. People will actually be like, oh sweet, I actually do need something, right? So make sure that you're always, personalizing it and don't be afraid when that flagship is coming up, man. Ask them and see what's going on. One of the things that I always do is the biggest thing, you guys, is treating your VIPs like gold. Okay. So it is so much easier to keep a VIP than it is to get a new one. If, who's with me? Yes. When you keep them happy, it's much easier. You're like, you get your like really solid people. Now, there's a lot of people who do a lot of things where it's, sending Christmas cards or sending cards and sending little gifts and doing these types of things. For me personally, I don't do stuff like that, just because I do have a lot of VIPs. That'd be a lot of cards to write for me. But what I do is I listen to them. Okay. I remember what they are using. I have a very weird teacher brain. Okay. I can remember, I remember, Larissa, every outfit you were wearing at director's training. I remember it. I remember visual things. And so I can remember with people, when certain sales will come up with my VIPs, I'm like, oh yes. I'm like, sweet. Kathy wanted to, Kathy uses the skincare. I'll check her order. She hasn't ordered, an eye smooth for 7 months, so I can reach out to her. But I just keep it very, very personalized. And I what I do when sales come up, and I know a lot of people, we're like, oh my God, there's a sale. And you write this big honking scripty thing and you just send it off to all your VIPs. It's quick. What I do is I personalize every sale for my VIPs. So I look at a sale and I say, okay, you can check your back office and look at who hasn't ordered for a while or who has even ordered or who you sent samples to, but really look at the sales and see how they're going to work for them. I have my one VIP, I knew she wanted to try the men's line. She's like, I'll wait for a while on that. We had that sale with when all the men's stuff dropped and one item was in there. And I was like, hey, Erin, how's it going? I know you were looking at trying the men's line. We've got this sale on right now. So what's awesome is you could actually grab the face wash and this, and then you could add on the moisturizer for only $26. And we launched a new shave gel, right? And she was like, ooh, okay, I'll do that. And then she was like, do you have sunscreen? I'm like, yeah. She's like, all right, let's just go with the OG, with the original, get the men's skincare and add the two things on. Oh, and she got the waiver because she was in the States. And I actually was like, okay, cool. But look at this. I said, if you actually add that sunscreen on, Erin, you're going to actually be able to now add on 4 products for $20. And you can get the waiver and the blow dryer for your hubs, which she already had. So she got 2 waivers, gave one to her daughter. But if you don't, customize things, and honestly, we want the PV, we want all that, but we also want our VIPs getting the best deals as possible. So when we're actually, promoting it and showing the discounts that they're going to get, they're more likely to buy into it. So, don't think of sales with your VIPs as just hammering out messages. Take the extra time to actually reach out to them, let them know what's going on with it, but actually customize it to who they are and what they are using, and maybe something that they have been wanting to try. And that's why, sometimes with flash sales, depending on which ones they are, I can average between, 1,500 to 3,000 PV just on one sale, depending on, and that's, again, I have a large customer base. But again, it's the dedication that I've kept, I keep in touch with them. I see how they're doing. I know what they're using. I know what's going to work for them. But VIPs, right, are going to equal personal volume. You have to treat them well. And, recruiting obviously is number one in this business, but you never know. I just got a message from one of my VIPs tonight who was like, okay, I had sent her skincare samples. And she's like, I would like more information on becoming a market partner. This is a VIP I've had for a few months now. And so you never know, right? You can bring, and I will tell you, if people love these products, you bring them in as VIPs. There is a very large likelihood that they will end up wanting to sell these products because they're using them. They're talking about them with their friends. And if their entry point is becoming a VIP, that's great. But don't look at VIPs and personal volume as, just the only thing you should be focusing on, but also look at it as a tool to possibly be bringing in new market partners as well. And one of the biggest things, you guys, is I always say, set PV goals. Set your personal volume goals. What do you want your PV to be every single month? For me, I have a non-negotiable of it being 5,000. That's just a thing that I've done for myself. I need it to be 5,000. So I start to look at my month and I plan it out, right? So number one, I'm always 500 by the 5th. By the 5th of the month, you want to have 500 PV. Start your month off strong, right? Now, if we don't have a sale, I know sometimes we won't have a sale and I'm like, oh my gosh, right? So you're kind of freaking out, but look at your flex ships. Look at when people are having them. If they're coming later in the month, maybe reach out to them, let them know about what the freebies are this month and get it set up sooner. So you're really, starting your month off on a high, starting your month off very, very strong, front loading the month, as we say. And then when it comes to sales, look at where your PV is at. I also like to be at 20. Well, I would like to be around 3,000 by mid-month. That's just my thing. I'm like, because then that gives me half the month to get the rest of it. And 5,000 is my minimum. So I obviously am working harder to get more of it. But when you actually put a goal in front of your face, like I want it by the 5th, I want this by the 20th, I want this by, the 31st, or if in this month's case, the 28th, I hate short months, they freak me out. But set your goals for yourself. And I think that, what I love about personal volume for everybody, you guys, like I said, it doesn't matter what rank you're at. It really doesn't matter. And if you are looking to bring in, if you're like, I need to bring more money in this business, and right now, building a team is just not happening for me. I'm talking to people, I've had people come in and they're not doing it anymore, and I'm looking for new people. You have the ability to really focus on something that you can control in this business. And like I said, those Friday pays, when you all of a sudden you're looking at your Friday pays and they're like $800 and you're like, what is going on? Like, that is pretty exciting, right? And that's all on you. You don't have to rely on anybody other than yourself to do that. So that is my love for PV. I hope that some of those tips for you guys were great. Start looking at the products when you're showing them too. One of the things I forgot to mention in my stories, if you follow any of my stories, I really love to focus on deals of the day. So even when we don't have a flash sale, I like to make up my own deals based on what I'm using. So the other day I did a deal of the day, save 35% off retail, or what was it? Yeah, 35. And I talked about the oil, the scalp scrub, and the vinegar shampoo. And I actually just made my slides and I had them on there and I said, you can save this much money on them. And I had people reaching out and they're like, I need to get the scalp trio. I just made up the name. I'm like, scalp trio, right? Save 35% off. So we don't always have to wait for sales. I gotta, when I talk about the damage line and I look at the savings on that, get the damage repair line, save this much off retail price. I've had VIPs are like, ooh, can I get that on the flex ship? Heck yes, you can. Yes, you can. Let me get that set up for you. So make up deals for yourself, right? Who are you? Who's watching you? Who are you trying to really get to use the products? Look, build the cart, see the discounts that you're going to get, make the slides, put them out there. People are going to be attracted to that. And that's going to help you with personal volume as well. So that's kind of my jam on PV. I hope that was helpful. I'll just look and see, were there any questions? I see one asking if I focus on IG or Facebook too. I do both. Yeah, I have very different, I just saw your face, Diana. I have a very different base, right? Facebook, hey girl. Facebook is for me a lot of really deep connections that I have with people. So former students, high school people, like that kind of stuff, where I'm kind of more myself. Whereas on Instagram, I'm very, trying to attract a cold market. I've been in it for 5 months now. I'm working to build new relationships there, whereas Facebook are relationships that I already have with people. So I focus on both. I feel like you have to focus everywhere. People you see every day, Facebook, Instagram. I'm looking at going into TikTok, but I'm like, I don't know about that. I feel like it scares me, but you know what? Something scares you, you should do it. But I'm just trying to see if there was anyone. How do you share your recs with people over social media? Do you mean my recommendations? Yeah. Amanda, I'm assuming you mean that. I will either, depending on the relationship I have with the person, I will either just write them out. I usually write it out and I'm just like, these are the 4 that I would recommend. Here are the extras that I think. And when I make the recommendations, I'm not just like, okay, Renew shampoo, Revitalize conditioner. I actually explain why. Renew shampoo, because you have thicker, coarse hair, this is going to actually, help you with the nourishment that you need. So always explain the product. So you're not just being like, this is what you should get, because they need to know why you're recommending those as well. I'm just going to look down here if there's anything else. I'm doing a lot of things not in the favor of my PV. You're welcome, Diana. How do you contact VIPs efficiently for sales when you have so many? That is a good question. Well, Destiny, I have quit my job, so that helps. I got a little more time now. What I do is I will write a very generic little chunk about the sale.
I can't believe that.
I will write a little generic kind of write up about what the sale is. So, we have an awesome sale on right now. If you spend 90 on whatever you want, you can add these 2 products on for this, this, and this. So I will copy paste that, but I will write an intro directly to the person and then paste that little bit in. But then also if I need to switch it in there and be like, at the end of that, then I'm like, I think this is a great opportunity for you to get the nectar, and then you can try these 2 products, right? So I have a little blurb, but it does take a lot of time. But I honestly just sit down and I frickin' on Fridays, I am like, and I I make stories for my team. They get those. And then I'm off to the races, and I just look through my list and I just message the people based on who I think are going to want it. But again, I personalize everything. And I think that is why I get really decent sales. Not the last one though. Woo! Anyway, we won't talk about that. But this is why I do get good sales, is because I'm telling people what to get without being pushy, right? I'm saying this is what you should get because of this, 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 and this. And they're like, perfect. Yes, I needed that. I'm like, yeah, I knew it. Let's do it. Right. So I think, it does take time, but I'm like, I would rather be spending 2 hours doing that than at my school sanitizing desks and keyboards right now. Right. I just joined. How should I reach out to my network? Robin, I don't know who your upline is, but usually, I'm sure that they have some onboarding practices for you to kind of reach out to your network. And, I think just getting it out there on social media that you're doing it, do some stories, make a post, do the training in the back office, and, get your list going of people that you think would be potential customers or business partners. And that's kind of the first place that I started. I just reached out. Well, my first VIP, I was like, yo, mom, you're becoming my VIP. And she was like, okay. I made her. It worked that way. But I think that you start putting it out there, that people are going to see that and kind of flock to that. So any other questions? Scrolling up here. I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time. All right. Well, I hope that this helped. I hope that, I was just reading this one from Michelle. I have VIP customers who have actually canceled and then they come back. I've had that happen multiple times as well. And what I also do is when I have MPs who do not re-enroll, I reach back out to them because business obviously wasn't for them. And I work to get them back in as a VIP. And they're usually really receptive to that. They're like, yeah, the business just didn't work for me, but I do love the products. I'm like, well, let's bring it back in. And, for me, I will never give up a good VIP just to become a market partner. I know some people are like all about the upgrades just to upgrade. And I'm like, nope. Like I have some VIPs. I'm like, you are never allowed to do this business. Because you order like 3 times a month, you're not allowed. And I do think that a good VIP, seriously, you guys, it will change your business because number one, you've got people to ask for referrals, right? And I do that all the time. I have VIPs who just send their friends to me, which one girl, I was like, I wanted her to be a market partner so bad. She went with Beauty Counter. And I was like, oh my gosh, you have literally sent me 19 VIPs. Like you are crazy. But that's great. Treating them like gold. They're going to recommend you to friends. I forgot to talk about that, but, get them to host parties for you or get them to, ask them to host a party for you. So I think that's it. How do you recommend? Get referrals. I just ask my VIPs that I've got great relationships with. I'm like, yo, Nicole, do you know anybody who wants to try Monate? Have you talked to anybody? But it's great. Like I have these VIPs, they have their own groups with Beauty Counter and stuff. They'll post about me in their groups and their hair, and people in the groups will be, they're like, oh my gosh, Nicole, your hair looks so amazing. They're like, she'll tag me on something. And there you go. That trust factor is already solidified because they like they're good friends with my VIP. I'm good friends with them. Like butter, easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? How relaxed I am about it. you know what? Just believe in yourself, man. Everybody can do this. Everyone can do this business. Doesn't matter who you are, where you live, what you look like, what you do, how old you are. Everybody can do this business, whether it's recruiting or VIPs. Just you got to believe in yourself, man. Do the do, as I say. So, okay, I've taken like way too long, and I'm really sorry, but thank you guys. And if there's no other questions, that would be great. Thank you so much, Larissa, for being my person. And
Thank you. You're amazing. I'm so happy we get to hear you talk.
I was like, I forgot to do my outfit change. Hang on.
I love it. I love it.
All right, West Coast, go out there, get some personal volume, get those VIPs on with regular orders. You can do it. If you need help, reach out, and let's keep going strong. Have an amazing night, guys. Bye.